All right, welcome to Amplified episode number.
The only one that matters. It's the only one.
The world needs a little more Mr. Manels.
Woo! Been saying it, you know.
Mr. Manels.
Yeah.
Putting down my notes. Very professionally written, I might add. All right, how old are you?
I'm a child of God, you know. Forever young.
Forever
as
young.
Jay-Z said. And
See how he avoided the question.
Hey,
all right, so you've been doing this for
that's so crazy. Yo, this is wild.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
This is crazy. I knew this was because this is the first time that we're actually doing something in 3 years, like of this nature. And the last time it was a giggle fest too, and we weren't even like really that like good of a friends. And so now there's too much.
There's
too much history now at this point, which is crazy to say that there's.
I didn't expect it because usually we're pretty serious on here.
No,
so
but I know because he just give me the look, and he's got the cut like I'm about to cut you up look on his face, you know.
Got you.
Yo, and then the hands go.
I'm trying to ask a serious question or make a statement.
Let's go.
It's the hands.
You have you have the Showtime at the Apollo logo tatted on your arm.
Yeah.
Which means you've been doing this for a hot minute.
Yeah. It's Showtime at the Apollo still in operation today. Just
it is.
For anyone out there.
But it started at least before the 80s. Before I was born.
Yeah.
You were on it.
Yeah.
So my question to you. Where did this all start? Where did music start? How is it in your DNA? And where did all this soul come from? And the hair.
I mean, I was born into it, you know. Both parents, ballroom dancers. Grandfather was a singer. Grew up loving Motown, listening to music, and just started singing in 4th grade, honestly, and never lost the feeling of that rush that was on stage, you know. And it's crazy. You think about it, you're like, damn, 4th grade, like, dudes are worried about recess at 4th grade.
Right.
But like, it's just like anything. You get that first sense of excitement, and you're like, why do I feel so good? You know, and I think, you know, to get serious, now that I've matured in life, right? You know, obviously I had a lot of stuff going on as I was growing up with my family. And that was, I think, the first time in my life where I felt normal.
On stage.
Where I wasn't being judged about my personal life as a child. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh, that's Mike. This is what's going on in his life. That's Mike. This is happening. Yo, you know, they live this kind of life or this, you know what I mean? So it was the first time where I was on stage and everyone's parent, all my friends' parents, everyone was like, that's Mike the singer. Like, he's amazing. And that's something that came way later in life. You know, that realization, because someone broke that down for me, and I was like, oh, like, that's a real thing. Like, it was the first time where I was just like, I'm normal. You know?
And, I mean, without knowing the backstory, like, you are the poster child for you can make it through anything, and you can still be happy, and you can still have the best laugh in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can really literally make it through anything. I think even in some of my lyrics, I've referenced the fact that, like, you know, I got a homie that both his parents passed at a young age, being, you know, yourself, and you're still one of the happiest, coolest, most driven, you know, generous, kind, just all the great qualities that you would want in a human, not to gas you up too much, but you've gone through so much, and your soul is still shines bright. Yeah. Right? You're not making a ton of sad music. You're not just, you know, drowning in your own sorrows. And so what you're getting at in that point is basically everybody looked at you as like, damn, that's the kid who's had a tough one. Yeah. Until you got on stage and it was like your talent was you and people saw you for that and everything else was out the window. It was just like, wow, look at him go. Yeah. Look at the boy go.
Yeah, it was really like, you know, you would always hear things, you know, like, or not hear things, but like kind of like friends weren't really able to come over the crib. You feel me? Because parents would be like, there's no stability over there. They wildin'. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, just to touch on what you said is like, the way I live my life is, and I said, I posted about it the other day, it's like, yo, the past is printed, right? Like, you can't change that. So for me to sit here and dwell on that moment, like, it's irrelevant to the future. You know, the only thing I could do is like continue to move forward and impact the people's lives in front of me, you know, and just make everyone, you know, because at the end of the day, man, you know, I'm a happy dude. I like to live life to the fullest because I also know the perspectives of life can be short. You feel me? So it's like, why sit here and waste any moment or not work as hard as I can or not cherish everything that I'm doing? And you know, there's a lot of times where I get down on myself or like I'm overthinking or like worried about things. And you've been a person that has reminded me to kind of like, yo, let that shit go. Yeah. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if shit to, you know, but let that shit go and just focus on the moments, because 3 years ago, this would never even, this, you know what I mean? You were sitting at a desk taking orders for somebody younger than you, you know, and working a soulless job in a sense.
Right.
So
That's real.
That's crazy deep. That's wild. Pause. Yo, so the name of the podcast is called Amplified. So I definitely want to dive into like that feeling that you got.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide like, okay, this is more than a feeling. This is a career. Maybe this is a job, or like this is the only thing I want to do. And then what did you do to like get there?
It was legitimately in that moment.
In that moment, 4th grade,
Like,
you're like, this is it.
Yeah, like it was like, yo, the feeling that I got from being on stage and singing is, I always say like, you know, everybody falls in love with things in their lives, right? Like you fall in love with sports, you fall in love with women, you fall in love with food, you fall in love with hobbies. This is the only thing I've fallen in love with that have never fallen out of love with, you know? And so it was just like,
That's hookah for George.
yeah. So, sure. And obviously like having, at that time, my mom was still dancing. So it was kind of just like, I don't know. It was just something I did. Like it was the token, you know, sit up in the bedroom, play the records back, write down the lyrics, learn how to sing songs. Like anytime I was watching YouTube, you know, I'd be listening to the songs for where they take their breaths. You know, dudes couldn't afford singing lessons, vocal lessons. So It was like, you know, YouTube and the radio was my vocal teacher.
Right.
And just, I don't know, really falling in love with, you know, the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, and watching that growth was so like incredible to me. So much so that like I was just like, man, like I idolized this he's immortal. You know, I felt like he was immortal. Same thing with Michael Jordan and certain people in my life, but for their mentalities. And like I just feel like Michael was somebody who, you know, he did it he was so professional. And you could tell that he was so passionate about music, and like he probably didn't goof around as much on camera, but you see videos now and it's like, you know, I love this stuff so much, right? And I joke around and have a good time. But at the end of the day, I care a lot, right? Like I love to make music. I love to be in the studio. I love to write. I love to just
perform.
Yeah, like it's not so much. Yeah, performing really has become the number one thing for me all time. Like if I wasn't able to write another song for the rest of my life and I had to perform my catalog, I thought about this other day, like I'd be happy doing that.
Right.
You know?
Right. Which is interesting in today's landscape, because so many artists don't perform.
Yeah.
So many, it's kind of weird. I always looked at performing like the game.
Yeah.
You know, like basically making the music and learning it and learning where to take your breaths and how to do all these things. That's practice. And then when you get on stage, that's the game.
Yeah.
But now it's like people have found so many ways to make money and like enjoy their careers from the comfort of their own homes that they may never touch a stage and still be very successful.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely something to be said for the ones that can go out there and win over a crowd, command a crowd, go crazy.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that since 4th grade. Mm-hmm. So you did that, thought it was going to be, you know, your career, wanted it to be your career. Trials and tribulations, a lot of them. Right, and a lot of crazy stuff,
call it
right?
Tribulations and tribulations.
Tribulations and tribulations for years,
yeah,
decades, some may say. So, I think one thing that people ask me a lot, which I know you've been through, is, boom, you're grown now.
Yeah,
you're like, yo, I got this cat helping me. Can I say who was helping you when you went to LA?
Sure.
Yeah. So Dana, right?
Oh yeah.
So you moved to LA,
which
is something every artist thinks. Like, yo, if I can just get to LA, I'm on.
Right.
Like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
You had it, and what was that experience like, and what was the move to LA? Why, and then what happened?
I attribute, first of all, shout out Dana Biondi,
who manages Suicide Boys.
He manages Suicide Boys.
Extremely successful.
It's my brother, and love that. Honestly, like he did something for me that a lot of people wouldn't do in this world.
Right.
And I'll say that confidently. Like when I first met him, he just moved out of Connecticut, right? But everybody knew who he was. Connecticut's small, in the music industry. It's starting to grow now, but when we connected, there wasn't that much going on.
Yeah.
And he was the first person that was like, yo, you're coming out to LA, you're living with me, and you're just working on music. And for the first time in my life, I stepped out of my comfort zone, wasn't around the people I love and like my friends and family. And I was also, well, this was a common theme in my life, flat broke. And so I had no money, so like think about just moving across the country, no money, with just a dream and an opportunity, and for 9 months. And the craziest part was, it's kind of funny, but at the time, I told Pat, my producer Pat, we were only going for a month.
Pat went with you.
Yeah. So I told Dana, I can't come there without Pat. Like, it would be not as productive.
Right.
If Pat's there, we're going to get records done and we're going to grow, and I need him in my corner. So if you want me, you got to take Pat. And he was like, okay, I take Pat. So me and Pat are in a 1-bedroom. He's sleeping on an air mattress. I'm sleeping on a bed. Dana's sleeping on a beanbag in the living room. Like, I can't sleep on a beanbag for one night.
Gave up his room for you.
Gave up his room. Set up a studio in there, and for 9 months we just made music.
That's a pregnancy.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
And the whole time it was just music. We did sessions. We started catching like little streams where we were doing writing sessions for like Warner, and stuff like that. And, but I learned a lot in those moments because it's about efficiency, right? Like, everyone thinks like working hard is everything, but like, you're a product of it. Working efficient is more important, because you could work, but if you're working in circles, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? And like, my biggest mistake now looking back is like, I was in the mecca of music for 9 months.
Locked in a room.
And I shot not one piece of content. Yeah. I put out not one song, right? All I did was make music. And so I don't, you find the lesson in everything, right? And the positive. That's how I get down. And, I learned so much about writing and making music on time clocks, right? And honestly, a lot of the songs that even have come out in the past 2 years, I wrote
during that time.
So it's like Coming Home was the first song I wrote in LA.
Oh, dope.
So it's like, my whole goal is to write timeless music.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what happens. Like, a lot of people probably don't know, but like, Everything I wrote 5 years ago.
And that's a song that just dropped today.
Well,
not today, but in today's time.
A couple weeks ago, you know? And like, but I also wrote the bridge a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Right.
So it's like being able to like not sense like, oh shit, I could tell he wrote that, in 2012 or, what I'm saying?
You could tell a Chingy record when you hear it.
You could definitely, we always say like, yo, early 2000s music is the best, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I think music that's just music that you don't have to classify as a time is truly the best. Like, certain Jay-Z records you put on, I'm still banging the same way, still getting that same emotion. Even Justin Timberlake, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hear certain records and I don't attribute to a time period. It's just like, this is a perfect record,
right?
Right.
Big facts. So you went to LA, 9 months, going crazy. Nothing big really came from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just made music the whole time.
Yeah, we took a lot of meetings with labels. We probably met with 6 or 7 labels.
Gotcha.
And everybody loved me. Everybody loved my voice, actually, should I say. And they loved my personality in the office. And I think later on in my career is when I realized how to connect everything, right? Because I was like, I had no identity. I was walking in there with some J's, a mid fade, a black tee, and some jeans, looking like a normal dude who's going to the club on a Saturday night. Yep. You know what I mean? With just this voice. So I had one element down, you know, no fan base. You feel me? Just hey, here's my music. Make me famous, right? Type shit,
right.
You know,
but that's not all the way true, because I've seen the videos, and when I met you, you had the fade as well, right?
Yeah,
and I've seen the videos. You went all out dancing, even when you had the little fro. Like, you went all out dancing. You went all out singing in, you know, your studio takes. You went crazy on Venice Beach. Let's not get it twisted. You did a lot of content. You did covers. You did remixes. You had originals. You had full choreographed dance routines and major, at least what it looked like, major production value in the music videos, but none of it hit.
That was after I moved home.
Right. So you went from LA to Connecticut and you did all that.
Yeah, it just got to a point where, like,
what made you go home, though?
Time was up.
So
you just know when you gotta go.
Yeah.
You know?
From all parties.
Oh, what I was gonna say, what I lost my train of thought earlier was, so I told Pat we were going out there for a month and a half, and the girl that I was with at the time, I was like, yo, I'm going for a month. Knowing it was a one-way ticket and I don't know when I'm coming home. But I just didn't, like, I couldn't say it, because I didn't, right. And I really didn't know at the time, because I'm like, yo, what if we go out there and Dana realizes this ain't it and he sends me home, right? Like, what if, like, there's so many variables that I don't know, so I can't put a timestamp on it. But I know that after a month, we're either staying there for a long time or we're coming home. Right. So I just remember Pat being like, yo, it's like, you know, we've been here for like 3 months. Like, when are we booking the trip home? I'm like, I think we're going to stay for like another month, you know? And then, like, another month became 4 months and 5 months. Wild. And it was crazy. It really was crazy. But,
and then 9 months later, you were like, yo.
9 months later, it was just, we were further away than closer.
Got you.
You know? And it was just like, this isn't it. Like, sometimes you do have to hit the reset button. Sometimes you do have to step back and understand that your current, like, trajectory ain't it. And I think that's what happened, is like, and even when I came home, it was like that, but I was relying on everybody else. I was so focused on, like, I had a grudge with people. Like, why aren't you doing this for me? Why aren't you making it happen for me? Yeah. I'm giving you this incredible music. Why aren't you putting it anywhere? Why aren't you getting me views? Why aren't you getting, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I had a lot of resentment and a lot of anger my whole life towards people like that, being like, oh, I can do this for you. And then when they don't, I felt let down. And I genuinely had to hit rock bottom in all senses, right? Like, feel like I lost everybody. Yeah. So it was like my relationship ended. Pat was gone. Like, he was in LA. Dylan was in LA, right? I was home by myself, living in my friend's basement, broke. No money. Nobody calling to check in if I was good.
So he stayed and you left, Pat?
No, he started another venture with Dana.
Got you, okay.
Right? And so they had another artist, Tyler. And it's no shade. Like, there's no, like, resentment towards it. It was just like, yo, it was the business move, right? Like, it didn't work with me. These labels are interested in this other artist. Yeah. You know, and it made sense. It was a business move. So I couldn't, like, I wasn't knocking them at the end of the day, but the reality is, like, yo,
figure it out.
Yeah, like, you're all alone now.
Yep.
So you got home.
Yeah.
And that's when you started filming all the content. The beginning content, those music videos and all that stuff.
We did that, like, towards, like, right when I got home, we quickly went back out for a week to shoot those videos. We shot all those videos in 1 week.
Got you.
And you know, I don't even call it content. That's why I don't say I didn't start shooting content until recent, like a couple of years ago. But like, it was really like, okay, you have a song done. Here's your music video. Your music video flopped. Your song didn't hit. On to the next song or video. Right. You know what I mean? There was no like, let's think about different ways to work this record. If the music video doesn't hit, it's a dud.
Right. It doesn't work.
You know?
So I found you, you know, for fast forward, because that time frame was what year? Or years, I should say.
When you found me?
No, before that. So you went from L.A., then
I would
you went back to
say
Connecticut.
that was 2 years prior.
Okay, so I saw you in 2020, and I saw you singing a remix of an Annoyed song, who's another Connecticut artist, and reached out. So when I was doing the venture with Big Dogs TV, Dropout Records, and
this was pre-pandemic.
Right before the pandemic. That's what shut down Dropout Records, and we were signing artists to 3-song deals. And we were doing, you got a futuristic feature, you got a prank with Big Dogs TV, and then the third song was kind of like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, right? But we shot music videos, all three. You got 3 music videos. So we did that deal, and literally, like, I feel like the first week just became super close homies.
Yeah.
Even though beforehand I was like, no way, this dude is too much of a diva. Yeah. Almost canceled the trip because you were like, I need a fan in my room.
I'm a simple man. I need 2 things in my life: coffee and a fan.
Yeah.
A fan to sleep and coffee to wake up.
Simple asks.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like he made it seem like I asked for like the suite at the hotel.
Well, it was just
with a slipper and a white robe.
I was gonna say pretty simple.
I don't even need 3 speeds. Just give me the one speed.
Just the one speed.
Well, everybody else was like, good to go. No problems, no nothing. And no offense to my man's over here, but he was definitely the smallest artist that we signed. And he was like, yo, so break down the deal again. How does it work? What's this? Da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, I got, artists with 1 million monthly listeners like, bet, be there tomorrow. But I was like, if this dude don't shut up and just enjoy his opportunity. But it's good because he was double checking his business, which I would have did the same thing. So
Did you get the fan?
For sure.
Got the fan. Tanya laced it up.
Yeah.
You got out here, and then what was that like for you?
Yeah.
It was my first real, like, moment of, can I really do this? Because you were the first artist with a name that reached out to do something with me, right? And my whole life motto is like, yo, like, I'm ready for whatever. Like, I'll never say no. Like, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm an elite artist. If you put me on any stage, big or small, I'm gonna perform. That's what I do. I'm a performer. Show must go on. Yep. Been my motto since I was a kid. And so I was like, yo, what if, like, just those worries? What if I can't handle it? What if I'm not fast enough? What if I can't do this? What if there's too much on the plate? Like,
because it was a boot camp.
Oh yeah, no, it was
we did 20 things in 3 days.
And dude, like, not for nothing, but like, I had Dylan, and again, talk about another time where I was like, nah, if I'm coming, I need my guy with me, right? Like, my loyalty is crazy when it comes to like my team. But I had, like, Dylan got dropped off at my work, so I flew out from work. Like, I drove to the airport from work, flew to Arizona, shot content and videos for 3 days straight, flew home on a red eye, got no sleep, and drove directly back to work. And I just remember being fucking, like, at work, I was like, yo, I dead ass dare somebody to talk to me with bad breath right now. Like, I dare you. Like, I'll quit on the spot. I don't care if the CEO comes in today with pickle breath, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, that moment was everything for me, because we did the prank, like singing to girls in public. And I remember being at Jupes later on that night after we shot the Somebody Else video and posting a video of like self-reflection, just like feeling like I unlocked a new level in my artistry, because I have always been so nervous to do stuff like that. And like, I saw you do it early on, and I'm like, you got to have balls to do that shit. You know what I mean? But really, you just have to be confident in your craft. You have to be good. Like, at the end of the day, you got to be good, right? Or you got to be a clown.
Right.
There's really no in between. Because I could have easily went and did that and sang for people and them been like, bro, you're booty cheeks. Like,
yeah,
keep it moving, you know? But that right there, talk about like teeing something up, like that teed up the McDonald's video, and that teed up me going in public and singing in grocery stores and libraries and all these different places, because that moment showed me that I'm capable of doing it. You know what I'm saying? And just being here that whole weekend is like, yo, we can shoot a podcast, we can shoot a music video, we can shoot another video, we can do this, we can, like, there was a whole routine, a whole schedule of things, and I was like, yo, I am built for this. Like, I am ready for this.
Yeah.
And that's just me being in my basement, practicing, making sure I'm good, and just holding myself to a certain standard.
Stage is never too big.
Stage
is never too big.
Wait, so how did the video do when you guys dropped it?
Which one?
The singing and the girls in public.
It did really, really well.
Yeah, it's probably got like 500,000 views right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't like blow up like we wanted it to.
But very good.
But it did really well. It got a really good reception. A lot of like Dropout fans came over.
It popped off on Facebook. And like I said, it was just a catalyst. Like, I don't even care about the views. Like, they're irrelevant to me. It's really the moment that came from it is that means the most to me.
For sure.
So at this point in time, I hadn't even met you yet.
Nope.
We weren't managing anybody,
Nope.
obviously. And COVID happened, shut down Dropout Records. I started Indie Amplify. I met you, and we kind of started, working with Oz.
We met pre-Indie.
Right, pre-Indie, briefly.
Yes.
And then, you were working with Oswin and Chris Rivers and Anakin.
Yes.
And I had just worked with Vinjay and Mike, which are all, part of the roster now. But it was just a very interesting time because, like, how you were feeling like, oh, I could be an artist. I was feeling like I've always had the chip on my shoulder, like, I could put niggas on.
Yeah.
Because I have.
Yeah.
So it's like I knew that I could do it, and I wanted to show people I could do it.
Yeah.
So we got into the management, and managing people is interesting because it's just like I feel like I got the answer, Sway.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Especially because I've been there and done that. And so it's just like I'll tell people stuff and sometimes they don't listen. And also, like, being the player and the coach is an interesting dynamic because the best players don't necessarily make for the best coaches all the time, right? So I'm on your head. I'm like, Mike, just go in public and sing. Just get on TikTok. And we argued and we battled, and I'll never forget the convo we had with Pat. It was me, you, and Pat on the phone. Take it all the way back to good old 9-month Pat from LA.
Yeah.
We were on the phone for like 3 hours, I feel like, just talking.
Yeah.
This is pre-management.
Pre-management. Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't pre-management. It was right before we took that trip to LA.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't remember?
I think, I do remember.
Yeah. Or maybe we were in management talks, but I think we were unofficial, maybe official. But yeah, we talked, and I'm just like, bro, you got to do TikToks. And then Pat, who's a little more old school, was like, you got to do TikToks. And you were like, fine, I will. And you were consistent. You didn't give up. If my number is correct, it was either 44 or 54 videos.
It was a lot.
In a row.
It was a lot of.
Sounds like a lot. 54 videos. Let's just say it was 54 for shits and gigs. 54 videos straight on TikTok. None of them hit.
Yo, I'll never forget this moment because this, how he be. We're in the van in Denver. We did a 3-show run in Denver.
Yeah.
And like I'm heavy posting TikToks, right? And all of them are duds. And I posted one, and like 2 hours later, it had 16 views. And I remember he was scrolling, and I was sitting next to him, and he sat there and he saw it for a minute, and he looked at me and goes, man, I don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know if I can handle like seeing that.
Oh.
But I just remember, and I remember being like, at the beginning of the year, being like, for the whole year, I'm not going to care about any view counts, right? Like, it's going to hurt, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to care. I'm just going to care about the production and just put it out and just make sure I'm consistent, right? Because I've tried the traditional way my whole career. That shit ain't work. So let me try this. I'd be a fool to not try this for 1 year if I did that for however many years and it didn't work. And it was the video, like it was a simple video. And strangely enough, you were in it. I did give it a try in front of a garage where the door opened, And I didn't even know he was going to do it because I was wearing headphones and had music on, but I'm singing the hook, and then he comes out of the garage and starts two-stepping while I'm two-stepping.
That's when we were in L.A.
Yeah, we were in L.A. And I went from getting like 100 views on the video to I think I hit like 6,000 on TikTok. And I was like, oh, 6,000. I was like, I think I did something. I'm unlocking a level, right? And I remember anytime I started posting Give It a Try, that song would do better than any other song. So,
which is also crazy to tie it back because that was the first song that we did for Dropout Records.
That was the first song 2 years prior.
2 years before, yeah.
So it was just like, you know, starting to figure out that game and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And, you know, obviously, like, I was doing what a lot of artists do, right? Like performing outside, performing in weird places. And I think that's where my creativity started coming into play, especially, you know, obviously like going to see Nick, right? And being like, okay, this is his formula. This is how he does things, right? And now everyone's paying attention to him and everyone's doing that. How do I kick it up a notch, right? So it's like, well, I will really go in public and sing live.
Right. Like, because everybody else is dubbing their vocals and putting their actual track on. The crazy thing is you sing so well that, like, I don't think most people know you're actually singing in comparison to other people that will just talk in the beginning and then use their actual track.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I've done
until
that.
you laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I do
while you're singing,
right? If I do something like specific in the song, but yeah, there's a bunch of videos where like I'll actually leave a bad note in there or something like that because I want you to hear like the character, or just like the personality or the, you know, the emotion that I'm in at that time. But yeah, I don't even care because it's like for somebody to be like, oh, he didn't sing that as good as he normally does. It's like, you go walk in the grocery store and try and sing in front of people with a pushing a cart and you sing perfect.
With a security guard watching.
Yeah, like worried if you're getting kicked out or what's going to happen. Like, you know, and I don't want to say worry, but it's like, yo, there's nerves. Like people are afraid of public speaking and magic public singing.
Yeah.
You know, so at this point though now, I go in anywhere and sing. Like it really doesn't bother me. And I think that just comes from, again, that day with Dropout where it's like, yo, that was so uncomfortable that it made me super comfortable.
Right. And
then full circle moment. Now you're on your first headline.
That was a jump.
That skipped a lot of steps. He
looked at the time. He said,
yep. And you're going on tour next week.
To jump past all the important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel like we need like a part 2.
Now we could talk about like the open verses and the Anise and just like, you know, me kind of like taking after you in a sense of like, yo, like businessman, learning every facet of the business, conducting yourself as a business entity and just not being afraid to reach out to people and push, you know what I mean? And just chasing all that.
So you guys have met the unfamous Mike. Next episode.
Shit, I didn't know this was going to stay on. I was just game planning for the next one.
That's on there. You met unfamous Mike. You met brown hair Mike.
Yeah, you met douchebag Mike.
Yeah, you met Jersey
They
Shore
call me
Mike.
a douchebag. Quote unquote.
Put a picture of this nigga on the screen.
Mike, y'all said I look like a dickhead.
There's going to be a picture here. Jersey Shore Mike right here.
That's crazy.
This is why he didn't pop off. Man's had 23 bags of Skittles, changed his hair color, and you'll find out about what happened next.
Yo, Skittles just got banned in California.
Only he would know that.
The red
See
ones.
you next time on Amplify.
Next time. If you give somebody the clap and you don't call to let them know that it was indeed you,
it's kind of like whoever smelt it dealt it. You know what I mean?
Whoever denied it supplied it. Alexa. Dirty girl.